Ah yes, nothing like a nice dip in our local waters. And it's all made possible because of a team of smart scientists, technicians, a lot of data, and a tricycle? Let me explain. You see, it wasn't always a good idea to swim in the lower mainland. Before the construction of wastewater treatment plants, raw sewage was simply released, straight into places like Burrard Inlet.
What?
It soon became obvious that another approach would be required. And the solution? Wastewater treatment plants. And today, more than 1 billion liters of wastewater are treated and released in Metro Vancouver every day, into that same water you're about to swim in.
Really?
So, how do we know that our treatment process is working and that our water is safe? Well, let's find out how it works. How societies deal with their waste is a truly timeless tradition. From the humble bush to the Roman cloaca maxima and our modern systems today, humans have spent thousands of years refining the techniques and technologies for the never-ending task of dealing with our duty. Today, that process happens at a wastewater treatment plant. And just like how our body's digestive system uses good bacteria and chemical reactions to break down food, there's a similar process at work here, removing solids and breaking down organic materials in our wastewater to make it safe to release into our rivers and ocean. It all takes place at wastewater treatment facilities like this one on Annacis Island. Beneath these massive aluminum domes are essentially giant stomachs that digest the wastewater collected from homes and businesses throughout our region. And just like our stomachs, it needs regular control and feedback to make sure it's healthy. This is where the Annacis Lab comes in. The lab's job is to make sure that the treatment plant is working properly and that the water being released meets regulatory requirements. The lab staff work right on site, constantly collecting and analyzing samples and communicating their information to the operations people at the plant. You simply can't just do this kind of work on a Zoom call. The day starts with a journey taken by tricycle. Underneath the treatment plant is a vast network of tunnels, and a 3-wheeled bike is an easy way to collect and deliver samples back to the lab, all while getting some cardio in. There are 2 types of samples collected to give detailed and timely feedback as to how the plant is operating. A grab sample offers a snapshot for how the plant is operating in a specific moment of time. A composite sample is made up of many samples taken throughout the day. This provides a broader and more averaged view of the plant's overall performance and health. In addition to liquid samples, solids that have been centrifuged out of the wastewater during the treatment process are also collected for analysis. Back at the lab, all these samples are tested to assess both their physical and chemical properties. Among the many things the lab checks for, we have temperature, because the heat levels affect the efficiency of treatment. Total suspended solids, which tells them the amount of organic and inorganic material that floats in the water and needs to be processed. pH, which measures the acidity or alkalinity. Total metals, the concentration of dissolved and particulate metals. Ammonia, which can harm aquatic life. Nitrogen, which can cause algae blooms, and BOD, biochemical oxygen demand, which is how much oxygen is required to break down the organics. The results of these samples are compared to regulatory requirements and also the massive volume of historical data that's kept at the treatment plant. The lab technicians are looking for any deviations or anomalies from the historic norm because that may be an indication that something needs correcting. And of course, all of this testing provides timely and essential feedback to the folks operating the treatment plant. Christina Alexandra is the superintendent of wastewater treatment labs for Metro Vancouver.
So the overall role of the lab is to support what is happening outside in the plants. So in the plants, as the wastewater is coming in, there's different processes that happen. And these processes that happen are to ensure that the waste is treated in such a way that what is put out into the environment is safe.
So what are all these tests and what do they tell the scientists? Well, let's start with the first thing they check, which is TSS, or total suspended solids. The first stage of wastewater treatment relies on gravity to separate solids from the water, allowing heavier materials to settle to the bottom. Measuring the amount of suspended solids still floating in the water tells the lab technicians how well that process is going. The second stage of wastewater treatment relies on good bacteria to break down organic materials. To make sure these bacteria are healthy, the lab measures a number of things. BOD, or biochemical oxygen demand, is a window into how hard these bacteria are working. A higher number means these microorganisms are having to work much harder to break down materials in the water, and a lower number means that they can't process what's coming through. And just like in our guts, the level of acidity is very important. So the lab takes a look at measures that give them an indication of the overall digestive health of the plant as well. So what does the lab do with all this information?
When we see that there is a change in the data, so a change in either the TSS or COD or whatnot, when we see that there's a change, we go and we flag that right away to operations so that they know that something is happening, so that they're able to action something right away rather than wait days for data. So we're here to give them data. As quick as the analysis can be done, that's as quick as they can get the data.
So as you can see, testing on site means that a rapid response and a dynamic feedback loop is created between the lab and the plant. In addition to monitoring the processes at the treatment plant, the lab also measures the levels of unwanted substances like metals, anions, ammonia, oils, grease, and phenol in the wastewater. The solid samples that have been collected are placed into a furnace to burn away all the organic material. The lab does this because burning away these materials can help reveal metals and other inorganic substances.
We will test for heavy metals in wastewater. Some of them might be like arsenic, mercury, or lead. And if we get a hit, so a high positive result for one of these elements, we will immediately notify operations and we will start an investigation into where this might be coming from, and then they might have to do additional treatment to the wastewater to ensure that it doesn't get put out into the river.
Investigations are handled by a team called Source Control. They go upstream of the plant to find out where the pollutants are coming from. And at the plant, they might have to do additional treatments to the wastewater to address the issue. So as you can see, the process of turning raw wastewater into harmless output is complicated. And because a healthy wastewater treatment plant ultimately means a healthy environment, Annacis Lab is constantly doing checkups to make sure everything is okay. These days, when swimming advisories pop up, it's usually because of other sources like agricultural or stormwater runoff, dog or goose poop, or even illegal dumping from boats. That's why outside of the Annacis Lab, Metro Vancouver scientists are constantly testing the overall health of the aquatic environment. And just to be extra sure, on-site testing happens at all our beaches from May to September. These test results are provided to regional health authorities who will advise when beaches need to be closed. All these tests help confirm the water is safe for everyone, from tiny marine creatures to humans like you. So go ahead and get in that water, because now you know how it works.